Chair, I yield 5 minutes to the great gentleman from Tennessee, Mr. Ogles.
The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise today to honor a son of Tennessee whose courage still echoes across generations, a man who represents the very best of Middle Tennessee and the very best of this country, John Harlan Willis. Born in Columbia, Tennessee, John Harlan Willis was one of those young men who didn't wait for history to call his name. At 19, before the United States had entered the Second World War, he stepped forward and enlisted in the United States Navy. He became a pharmacist mate, a corpsman attached to the Marine Infantry where his duty was clear and unforgiving. When others hit the ground, he got up. He moved forward and went straight into the fire to keep his fellow Americans alive. On the black sands of the Battle of Iwo Jima, one of the most brutal battles in American history, Willis stood shoulder to shoulder with Marines under relentless enemy fire. He moved forward when others were forced down, crossing open ground under artillery and mortar fire to reach the wounded. Even after he himself was struck by shrapnel, he refused evacuation. He did not step back. He went forward again. And then came the moment that defines him. As enemy grenades began landing among his fellow Marines, Willis did something almost impossible to comprehend. He picked them up, one after another, and threw them back toward the enemy, not once, not twice, but 8 times. He chose the lives of others over his own. 8 times he placed himself between death and his fellow Americans. On the 9th grenade, there was no time left. It detonated in his hand. He was 23 years old. In that instant, John Harlan Willis gave everything he had so others might live, not because anyone ordered him to, not because anyone was watching, because that's who he was. He left behind a widow, Winfrey Willis, and a young son, John Harlan Willis, Jr. A family that carried forward his name and his legacy. And today, that legacy belongs not just to Columbia, not just to Tennessee, but the entire nation. We live in a time when words like courage and sacrifice are often used lightly. But if we want to understand what those words truly mean, we should look to the men like John Harlan Willis. He reminds us that greatness is not found in titles or positions, but in decisive moments when a person chooses others over themselves. Naming the United States Post Office in Columbia in his honor is more than a symbolic act. It is a statement about who we choose to remember. It is a commitment that future generations walking into that building will see his name and ask who he was. And when they learn, they will understand what the country expects of its sons and daughters. John Harlan Willis is not just a hero of the past, he's a standard for the future. And Mr. Speaker, before I close, I would ask that this body for a brief moment of silence for pharmacist mate, First Class John Harlan Willis, for his widow, Winfrey Willis, and for his son, John Harlan Willis, Jr., a man who had to grow up without his father, and for all those who gave everything so that we may stand here today free.
The question is, will the House suspend the rules and pass the bill H.R. 6808? Those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, 2/3 being in the affirmative, the rules are suspended. The bill is passed.